Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael Hatsis with Garnish Music Production. And today we're going to jump into some Ableton topics. And more specifically, what I would like to check out is a couple Max for Live devices. Let me just make sure I am up. Let's see. Looking good. All right. Yeah. So like I said, what I want to do today is check out a couple different Max for Live devices. All right. Might not get to both of them, but we could always save that for next week and the week after. All right. So I'm just going to show you the devices, and then we'll just talk about them, you know, what the benefit of something like this is, you know, why you'd want to use something like this. And yeah, so let me just show you where to download it so you can do this while I'm kind of just going over it. So right here, you want to go to, I just Googled Max for Live Essentials. Okay, so that's really what you want. Okay. And I believe you could get to it in your account. Okay, like if you go to your Ableton account, you can see here that I Googled it. It took me to this location and I can't download it. So like I said, I'm pretty sure you have to be logged in. Okay, and this is the Max for Live Essentials pack. Sorry about that. And there's a bunch of different stuff in there. Okay, and you know, you can see there's like little synths, things like that. Some audio effects, convolution reverb is in there, which I believe is kind of in its own pack for now. That's something real special too. Definitely want to check that one out. Yeah, so MIDI effects. Okay, so you have the mono sequencer and instant house. Okay, those are the two that we are going to check out this week and next week. All right, we're going to start with instant house and, you know, see how far we get. There's a lot to it. Okay, now, there's a pretty awesome, I believe it's, let's see, someone was kind enough, what is it called? Instant Afro. There we go, Instant Afro Max for Live. So here's another one we're going to check out as well. All right, so this is kind of Instant House's big-haired little brother, okay? And you probably want to grab this as well. I think you have to, like, you know, give an email, something like that. All right. But anyway, so yeah, I'll get back to that later. All right. But this one's really cool as well. So again, just download that, and I'm just going to kind of go over and talk about it. So once you download it, install it, you will find Instant House in Max MIDI Effect. Okay. And so again, I'm in packs. Max for Live Essentials, Instant House. Okay, I'm just going to drag that in. Okay, now what is this thing? What does it do? Why do we want to use it? Okay, and just different levels of producer. Like, why would they use it, right? What does it do? Well, it basically just makes house beats for you. Okay, and it's also got a little secret in there. You can also make hip hop and breaks if that's what you're into, which I am. All right. So yeah, it just basically, it's this Max for Live device. It just has a bunch of different patterns for kicks, snares, hi-hats, percussion. And then you have different controls for those. You could switch between different patterns. You could turn ones off, turn ones on, meaning you could turn different sounds. Like again, here's your percussion. Turn that on, turn that off. Snare, turn it on, turn it off. Jump to a different pattern. All right. Again, it's just instantly makes house drums for you. Okay. So yeah, you know, right off the get-go. So let me just throw some drums in there. Just, you know, get some music going, right? That's why we're here, I believe. And I think there's some new Live 11 drums. What's this? Drum racks. It's like real breaky. This could kind of be sort of housey. All right, so I believe these are the new Ableton 11 drums. Me saying that, they're probably not. Let's see. If we show the lesson. Nah. Probably not, but whatever. It's cool anyway. All right, so look, I'm just going to hit play. And, you know, again, you could just hear right off the bat that I'm making a house beat, right? A little slow. And again, like I said, you could turn off different ones. All right. Yeah, so that's sort of, you know, a tiny little TLDR of what it does. Okay, but like, why would we want to use something like this? All right, well, again, for beginners, it's great. Okay, because, you know, I remember when I was starting out, it was, you know, some of the patterns were difficult. Me coming from no musical background, it was just kind of like, what does 4/4 mean? What do you mean 4 on the floor? What's that? What is backbeat, right? And, you know, just kind of getting the grid down and all that stuff, you know, it takes a little time, right? This will get you there, right? Instant results these days, people, right? We don't want to learn, we just want to get results. Okay? I'm just kidding. I'm all about the journey. But anyway, so yeah, so again, for beginners, you know, it's just a great way to, you know, get some patterns going. Okay? We also have, like I said, the breaks. Yeah. Right. So it's like a little bit of secret in there. They don't tell you with the name, right? But yeah, you got some breaks in there. You do break beats, drum and bass. You do trap. You got to put your own hats in there. But yeah, you know, really fun. Okay. Now again, so beginners, right? It's just a quick way to just get something going. Okay. For intermediate people, it's just a quick way to get something going. Okay. For live performance people, this thing is super fun. And yeah, I wish I got to do this. Like when I do this live in the class, people get real into it because we break out the controllers, map up some knobs, some mute buttons, this and that, and you know, it's pretty fun. All right, so live performance, this thing's a beast, and you know, tons of fun. You know, you could do just switching through drums, breaks, program this, program that, because yeah, you could jump between patterns. So you know, pretty cool stuff, right? Jump between patterns. You could set up your presets here, jump between them. You can even trigger the different presets with the with notes, right? So you could send in MIDI notes, trigger the different presets, and yeah, so fun stuff. Just check it for the chat. Give me a second. So yeah, this is Ableton 11. This is still the beta. Don't tell anyone, I'm still in the beta. Oh, we got Gingy in the building. What's up? What's up? So yeah. Anyway, so this is really fun for live performance. Okay, next, the other device we're going to look at is similarly fun for live performance as well. That is going to be the mono sequencer. And then we can look at things like the ARP, and I want to get into Cthulhu, all that fun stuff. All right. Now, so talked about the beginner, intermediate, performance. Okay, but what about for advanced people? Okay, so myself, I'll think I'm somewhere intermediate, advanced, and you know what happens a lot of times is, you know, when creativity is a fickle thing, right? And sometimes you just don't have it. Right? We get in this thing which we call the repetition rut where, okay, cool, I got my Ableton template. Templates are awesome, don't get me wrong. I got my Ableton template, I'm in there, and, you know, I'm starting the same way, I'm approaching it the same way, and, you know, I'm just kind of annoyed that I'm not getting anything more interesting. I'm not getting anything new, cutting edge, that sort of thing. Okay? And, you know, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, especially this past year. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Okay, so why don't we kind of like flip that a little bit, right? So let's try to not be insane. Okay, so let's try different things, right? We'll start with different ways and see what kind of result we get, right? Different input equals different output. Okay, so a lot of times, starting in a different way and using a tool, yeah, you know, I can make all the different patterns on this thing, right? It's super easy. Actually, some of the percussion is cool. But again, it's just I wouldn't have maybe thought of it that way, or maybe just from turning a knob, it triggers something that I wouldn't have thought of, okay? And again, one of the ways I like to make music is just I like to make mistakes, okay? I like to put myself in a situation where I F up and something happens and it triggers an idea, right? Like I just tried dumb things that don't work, okay? And I know it doesn't make sense, but yeah, I like to try things that don't work, and or I don't think will work. It doesn't really work anymore because again, you know, but yeah, I like to try things that I don't think are gonna work, and then just really all of a sudden something will happen. I'll hear something, I'm like, there it is. And it's a lot of just fixing mistakes, right? Throw stuff at a wall, see what happens. Okay, it's throw stuff at a wall and make it stick, but it's throw stuff at a wall. I'm sorry, throw stuff at a wall, see what sticks, throw stuff at a wall, make it stick, right? Okay. So yeah, so again, for advanced people, this thing is awesome anyway. And then there's other things you could do with it, right? Like it just spits out MIDI. Okay, so anything that takes MIDI, we could put behind it. Okay, right? I have this DJ Newmark kit, the creme de la crate. But yeah, it doesn't matter. You could throw like slice stuff in there. You could throw a synth in there, right? Again, really fun to experiment. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And again, that's when, you know, creativity comes in to play. All right, when you jump out of your comfort zone into the unknown. All right, anyway, enough with that. So, yeah, so any questions at this point, you know, let them rip. Just put them in the chat. I'm going to be checking it out. Awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, I got from Derelict Relay, like the name. So, yeah, cool. Installing it right now. Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, so we have this one. And then, again, you want instant Afro. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's not going to be in packs. Let's go to user library, Mikey M4L patches, instant Afro. Okay, so let me load this one up there. Again, it's by Beat Lab Academy. You know what? I could put the link in the chat. All right, so here's instant Afro. This thing is fun. Don't tell anyone about it. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, so I'm just gonna throw the same drums on this one and just, you know, you hear the patterns, this and that. All right, so let's do that. Let me lower this a little bit so it don't blow out your ears. All right, so we got right off the bat, we got some dancehall. Yo, I didn't do anything and I'm already banging, right? All right, anyway. So let's go back. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. All right, so I'm just gonna turn this one off. That kit works really well, by the way, with the instant Afro. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, so yeah. Now let's just talk about the different controls. Okay, this thing is super easy to use. Okay, everything here is MIDI mappable, right? Like all these different things. I am in the middle of like changing around my studio. I'm very excited about that. I just, yeah, I just ordered a desk. All right, I'll stop. But anyway, so yeah, I don't have my MIDI controller set up. But yo, anything here, right? You just go to MIDI. Anything here could be mapped to different MIDI knobs or notes or whatever the hell you want. Faders, right? Or your iPhone or your iPad. Doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, now again, we have 4 different hits, okay? I'm gonna turn these off. All right, so all we have now is the kick, okay? And you can see I have a drum rack, and as luck would have it, the default preset pretty much sets you up to hit the right drums, right? Like the kick hits the kick, the snare hits the snare. That's kind of crazy. I'm going with that. You know what? Maybe I'll save that for, yeah. All right, So again, I got the kick and the snare. Just get the snare, some hi-hats in there. Now, say for instance I wanted to, let's speed this up a little bit. Let's do like, I don't know, I'm feeling like a 98 kind of day. All right, so check this out. So again, these are how you turn on the different things. Okay, now what if I want to play a different pad, right? Or what if I'm using like battery or something and I can't, you know, battery isn't as, you know, easy as drum racks to kind of switch stuff around. So what if I wanted to hit a different note, right? Like what if I want to hit, I don't know, there's like a kick up here or something. Let's do it with the snare because I only got one kick in there anyway. All right, so I could just go to this note, and this is the note that this snare is sending out. That's kind of dope, right? So you just kind of move this around. Let's see. Yo, so many ideas popping out right here. Like for instance. Oh, wrong thing. Anyway, right, so this is the note. If I want to go back to the other snare. It's a little bit too much. The snap is kind of dope. Right, let me increase the volume. And I can change the start point. There we go. All right. Now we have another one, pattern. Okay, so pattern, what that does is it changes. Remember, this thing just generates MIDI. All right, so it just spits out different patterns. So you can hear that it's playing a different pattern. Right? Now, what we could do here is our velocity boundary. All right, so you can kind of hear that. Right, the one is very low. It's a little too low for me. So here's the highest it's going to send out as far as velocity goes, right? So velocity right now is going to translate to how loud something is going to be. It doesn't always have to do that, but right here, you can see we have velocity to volume, right? So velocity is going to change volume. If I raise this one, this means that the lowest my velocity is going to be is 70. Okay, so again, it's the velocity range is 100 to 70 or 70 to 100. So it's not going to be that much variance on velocity. Now, if I wanted, I can make it even more velocity sensitive, which kind of sounds dope as well. You know what I'm saying? Like just that little ghost note in there. But I'm going to go here. So, and again, you have this on all the different ones. All right. So let's bring the kick back in. Let's see what kind of patterns we got in here. Right. So this one, I might want to take the velocity down just to get it. It doesn't really do much. I'm just going to stick with the basic. Oh, and the zero pattern is off. Okay, so you can turn it off this way or just go to 0. Okay, cool. Let's get that up there. So what else? Okay, so we can also add swing. Like if I want to make this more like deep housey. Right, add some swing to it. And then you could hear that 16th note. Just kind of like slides right into the... And then you also have shift. Shift is going to slide the drum ahead in time. here it's a little bit late. It's a little bit after the kick. All right, so you got everything you need right here. All right. Now, so let's add some hi-hats. Right. Let's see what else we have. So I'm gonna play with the notes. Nope. Nah. Kind of like that one. Let's go here. Let's bring that up. We also have the open hat. Okay, so now again, you don't need to use these for hats. There we go. All right, so now I got the open and closed. Let's see, let me switch. That is pretty awful sounding. I'm gonna stick with just the close hat for now, just to kind of keep things moving. All right, cool. Moving along, moving along. Drop out the kicks. All right, cool. So at this point, let's store some presets. Okay. So just by clicking here again. Oh, I turned this thing on. All right. So just by clicking here, you could store a preset. Okay. And now I want to resave it, so I'm just gonna hit shift click. Right, so again, if I want to overwrite one, right, so say I want to store this here, right, even though there's already preset there, I'll just hit shift click. I'm sorry, I hit click. All right, so now I got like just the main pattern. And then when I want to jump into a break, all right, so let's see. What's good, people? Yeah, it's a nice kick. I got lucky with that one. All right, cool. So yeah, so that's the presets. Again, you know, it tells you down here how this thing works. Okay, you'll figure it out. I know that's not the best way to teach someone, but you know, cool. So let's add some percussion in here. Okay, so we got the percussion. All right, so I want to store another preset. So I hit shift click. This thing's a little loud. I like it, but again, it's a little loud, so let's lower this thing. Wow, a lot of stuff going on there. We'll just do it from here. Cool. All right, so that's the basic idea. Okay, so now let's make a few patterns. Okay, we can make some variations. Again, you could just store it in here, and then we'll talk about how to like lock this in. Okay, because you know, sometimes you might want the actual clip when you are you know, when you're arranging stuff out, right? So let's actually bring the snare up a little bit. That's not the snare. That's a snare. Cool. So like I said, I want to make some variations. I got one where I got just my basic house banger. I got a little break. So now what I want to do is I want to, like, when this comes back in, I want to have some extra kicks. All right, so I'm going to save that here, and then I'm going to update this one. So let's. Yeah, there we go. Shift click to save. Just playing with the different patterns. All right, cool. So that's just the basic idea. All right, that's just like a quick once over. Oh, the other thing, we could always switch. This is always a fun one. So I'm gonna save this here, and then, like, I like doing like the switch. Alright, so shift click to save her up. And then we'll do a little break. Alright, cool. So that's just like a quick little overview. All right, so again, everything on here gets stored in one of the presets. Okay, and that's, you know, the beauty of Max for Live, or one of them. Cool. So let's check out. So a couple things I want to show y'all how to do is I want to show you how to turn this or print this into MIDI. And then I want to also show y'all the Instant House one. I'm sorry, that was Instant House. The Instant Afro one. All right, this one right here. That's kind of like, yo, I don't even have to do anything to that right there. I'm using this, yo. That's it. I'm saving that for a track. All right, so look, so let's talk about like what we could do, because again, right now, you know, it's it's not the easiest thing to arrange something like this. Like, right, what if we wanted to arrange this out, you know, turn it into a song? Like, how could we do something like that? So what we want to do is resample the MIDI, or I guess like re-MIDI the MIDI. I guess that's how you'd say it. So what I need to do that is I need to make a MIDI track, right? So I'm on Apple, Mac, so I'm doing Command Shift T. If you're on Windows, you could do Control Shift T. And I want to make sure my I/O is up. And right here, this is the drop down where you choose where you want the MIDI to come from. And the basic idea is we want to jack the MIDI from this track into this track and then record it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is tell this new MIDI track to grab audio from, let's do this. Let's just rename stuff. Instant House. I should have used the 5, right? Dead Mouse style, man. Instant cred for doing it. All right. Yeah, so MIDI. Okay, cool. So now this is this is where it gets crazy. Right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So here's the track, right? So I'm grabbing MIDI from this track, and what I want is I want post effects. Okay? Because I want it after the, remember, this is a MIDI effect. I want it after the MIDI effect. Right? And then you just arm the track, and then you can see the MIDI is coming in. All right? So what I'm going to do is just let it rip. Again, this one is kind of basic, but all right, you can see here I got the MIDI coming in. All right, let's go back here, and you know, when we get to here, it starts getting a little bit more interesting. Here we go. So let's just make a new clip for this one. kind of the same. Let's get rid of that. And here was... All right, cool. So I got a bunch of different patterns. What I'm going to do is turn this off, and I could just bring these MIDI clips here, okay? So again, I recorded the MIDI, so now all those patterns are up inside this MIDI clip, okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to, you know, I could either do this as well, like I could just copy this drum rack to here, all right? Either way, what I want to do is have these clips with that drum rack, okay? And I want to turn this off so it's not, you know, doing its thing, all right? So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see what we got here. Any questions? All right, cool. So yeah, so that's the idea. So we recorded the MIDI, and then now we just threw it on a track. Or I'm sorry, we just copied this to that MIDI track. And now we have all these patterns. All right, so I could go in here and mix and match. All right, so I could grab this, and right, this was the plain one. I could just go in there, post that. I could edit the velocity on this one. Something's up. Why am I off? Cool. Anyway, so you know, you can see here, this just leads us down a whole path. Okay, so again, it's just basically we have MIDI now. Right, I could, you know, turn this into like a house kind of thing as well. Let's lower the velocity on this one. Anyway, so you could kind of see right there that, you know, it just kind of gives us just different things to work with, right? And again, you know, these patterns aren't that difficult, but you know, who knows if I would have came up with this, okay? So let's kind of just jump over to this. We'll kind of do the same thing, and then yeah, and then we'll move on, okay? So here I'm in the Instant Afro one. Okay, and like I said, right off the bat, I got something pretty dope. So I'm just gonna save that. Oh. Cool. So the idea is like, I like this one a lot, okay, but that kick is a little bit too much, right? And playing with the velocity, it doesn't really, you know, get me where I want, and that's why the resampling comes in handy, right? Because when I resample the MIDI or record the MIDI, right, I could just go in there and just kind of like edit the MIDI to my heart's content. I can also... save that. It's a nice fill. Let's make a couple more. Let's get some percussion up in there. Let's try some different notes. I kind of like this, but it's like way too long. It's a little bit better. Let's try something else. I guess that's all right. That's kind of dope. The way it is. Let's get some volume on this. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, this is what I want, the hat. And then this one. Cool. So let's save that up. Let's get some snares. All right, there's that classic Afro house, Afro beats pattern. Let's save that one too. Oh! Damn. We'll find it. There we go. Cool. All right. Yeah, so, you know, and then all the whole thing works the same. Again, it's just spitting out different patterns. All right. So it's basically the same thing. It is just spitting out different patterns, right? More in the line of like, you know, like Afro beats, Afro house, dancehall, reggaeton, dembow, that kind of thing. All right. The clave, basically. All right. For the more music theory oriented people. So again, now I could do record. This is a lot of fun in here because we got a whole bunch of cool stuff, right? Right, so there's a lot of different variations in there that I could use. Okay, so again, you know, you could do things. I can make another pattern like this, and then switch to this one. Right. Okay, so let's, I'm just going to make a new MIDI track, and I'm just going to record some of these, and then we'll move on. We'll look at a couple of other things we could do with this. All right. So let's see. So I got all ins, right? So I want to grab audio from Instant Afro. I'm sorry, I want to grab MIDI from Instant Afro, and then again, post effects, right? Because I want to grab it after the MIDI effects. And arm the old track. of the same thing. There we go. I'm just going in and naming these things a little bit. All right, cool. So, all right, cool. So again, what we could do is just like, I could just turn this off. The other way I could do it to get this to play is I could just go in and turn that off, pop these here. All right, and again, as long as I have the instant Afro off, right, it'll work. So let me just go in. Let me get rid of some of this. Oh, look at that. There's like a... Oh, no. That's where I started. Yeah, whatever. It's just like one bar there. All right, so let's just go here. Select. Command L. Control L. Same thing here. Grab this. Command L. Command L. Cool. Boom. All right. Cool. So yeah, like I said, I like these little kicks. So I'm gonna grab a few of them, right? So let's go here and also do one extra kicks. All right, and there we go. Right. So I wanted to get these super low velocity. I think that's good enough for me. Right, just the one in there, and let's put one here. Let's duplicate that out. Actually, let's put that there. And I'm gonna move this over a little bit, so it kind of like swings into the... I think it would sound quite fiery. And then I'm going to bring the velocity up on this one. A little bit much. Cool. Anyway, so yeah, so that's a basic idea, right? Just, you know, throw stuff at a wall, figure out what could stick, and then just kind of, you know, go in and, you know, just make something cool happen out of it. All right. So, any questions at this point on the instant? Looks good. Looks good. All right. Cool. So yeah, so like what else could we do with this? Like I said, you know, one of the things you could do is do some like live performance stuff, right? Hence, you know, the name Ableton Live, right? Probably want to jump into that. And again, like I said, all these things could be mapped, and it's super fun to just kind of go in, you know, make variations, this and that. All right. But what else could we do with this thing? Well, we could do, I'm just going to option drag this here. Okay. And we can also, you know, slice stuff up with the instant house, right? So I could, you know, slice up some audio, or I can even slice up Midi. It doesn't even matter. All right. You know, the first week, what I did was I did slicing. Okay. So we're going to kind of put that together with this. So I don't know. Let's see if we have a, I got some some splicey splice, and let's see, melodies. Some classic. Let me just lower this. All right, so let's, oh. All right, so that, there you go. A little old school. I think I'm gonna work with this one. All right, so let's get rid of this. Leave it. Oh. Uh-oh. All right. I'm just gonna do show in browser so I know which one it is. Cool. So I'm just dragging a couple things in, and then, all right, bam. All right, so again, I got my instant stuff, and yeah. So again, the idea with this one is just use this thing to trigger different slices or different pieces. Okay. Now, last time we looked at, you know, just using simpler to slice stuff up. Okay, so let's go in here and let's turn all these off. Okay, but we might slice to a drum rack. Okay, because, you know, you have a bit more flexibility in some ways. All right, it's kind of dope right off the bat. All right, so all I did is turn on this low perk. Okay. So right now, again, I have this thing sliced. I just slice it by transient. Okay. One fun thing to do right off the bat is just to play with the sensitivity. Cool. So let's add in. Works right there. So I just added the kick. The kick is triggering this one. Maybe try a different note. All right, so I'm just gonna take a hint and just go in and start recording. All right, so again, I'm not doing anything different. Also, check out Looperman, really cool site. Tons of free samples, loops, that sort of thing. The budget splice. All right, so I'm gonna save that. Let's try to get a snare. Yo, already getting it. All right, so let's turn on warp, complex. Let's see what we can do here, right? Let's have some fun. Let's I'm going down 12 semitone. I'm gonna record this one. That's kind of cool too. Starting to lose it here. You know what? It might be the like super like Timbaland, Dr. Dre kind of thing. All right, cool. So yeah, I have these two that I kind of really like, and so let's just bring this here, right? So again, same thing. I'm just bringing it to the MIDI I recorded, right? So I got some MIDI I recorded here, just kind of like while I was jumping through the different ideas, okay? And yeah, let me turn this on. And then we got this. Cool. So this I kind of like. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that to this one. All right, let's go main var and paste that in there. Okay, and you know, use that as like a start. Let's see. All right, so let's unfold. Okay, so again, yeah, so you know, right off the bat, I kind of dig that. Okay, and then again, you know, we could experiment around with this. Like I said, what I was doing before was just taking the sensitivity up, okay, or down. And what that does, if you watched, I believe it was like the first week I did this, is the sensitivity makes, right? So basically what transient does is it slices, and it makes a slice anywhere it thinks there's like a burst of audio, right? So you could see here that every time there's like a burst of audio, all right, it puts a slice marker, all right? Sometimes it makes a mistake, right? Because it's kind of overcompensating. It thinks, oh, you know, that might be a slice point, but it's not. And the way you kind of rectify that is by taking the sensitivity down. So, you know, it's less sensitive to, you know, things that aren't exactly peaks or transients. All right. So now the fun thing is, you know, you could just, you know, just by changing this, you come up with a whole different. Right, and yeah, so that's basically the instant house, instant afro in a nutshell. All right, whole bunch of cool shit in there, people. it's a fun one. All right, that whole pack is just so much heat in here. And the thing is, I don't know why they do it. So let's go look at it real quick. So packs, where is it? Max for Live Essentials. Like, I don't know why they do it. I think it's because they made it for Live 9 and they didn't update it. But they hide this. Like, this thing is so hard to find for whatever reason. Like, they don't publicize it at all. Okay? So, again, you can have, like, a little secret weapon here. All right? You got the Instant House, the mono sequencer. We'll check out next time. This thing is, it's like, well, you could do a lot more with it. But if you're into, like, 808s, you got, like, I'm sorry, not 808s. What is it? 303s. Easy stuff like that, but so much more on top of that. But yeah, for whatever reason they don't promote this pack too much. I asked them about it. I do a lot of, not a lot, but I've done some live clinics or workshops or whatever, and I'll show the Instant House, I'll show the mono sequencer, and they're like, yo, that's really cool. And I'm like, yeah, why don't you guys promote this thing? They're like, I don't know, everyone just seems to like these two devices when I show it to them. All right, so again, tons of heat inside this here Max for Live Essentials. Okay, there's also an extra ARP you want to check out. It's like a Midi monitor. It just kind of tells you like what MIDI's coming in, that sort of thing, whatever. There's better one. I think they came out with a better one in Live 10. Anyway, so yeah, so that's again a little bit on Instant House. All right, and I'm just gonna do last thing. Doesn't have anything to do with Instant House, but if you watch it in my previous videos, you know how obsessed I am with this thing. Yeah, it's very hard to go back to Live 10 with the hybrid reverb. Okay, so let's just add a little reverb to this now. So anyway, yeah, before I get there, again, just showing you that is the Instant House and the Instant Afro. Okay, and I put the Instant Afro down link in there. Again, you could look at it as cheating, or you could just use it to take it to a different level, right? I do both. Okay, right? What do they say? Good artists cheat, great artists steal, right? That's how it works, people. And got to get with the program or get left behind. So yeah, so those are the two. Okay, the video is going to be up. You could rewatch it if you had any questions, anything like that, or leave them in the comments. All right, so again, like I said, just a little bonus. Let's get into the hybrid reverb. Okay, this thing is awesome. I think they did a great job with this, and not just the fact that it's like convolution and algorithmic, but just the approach they took and just the controls and how these are all like really weird, right? Except for Dark Hall. You got like quartz, shimmer. People love the shimmer. People have been asking me for years, how do I make the shimmer? Tides, prism. Okay, so yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Now I think I made some presets, probably mic drone, mic vox reverb, let's try this one, little lead far reverb. That's nice. Yeah, so again, other things like pre-delay where you get a you could set it up to beats, right? So you don't have to just do milliseconds. All right, you don't have to use your ears anymore. You could just type in the beats you want. All right, and then you also get the feedback, right, which is beautiful because it sends the pre-delay back through, right? So again, it's like a delay, but you're using a reverb impulse. Kind of ridiculous. Okay, I'm just using the Dark Hall here. Got it in serial mode. So here's my convolution. There's some cool things in here. I think the textures. That's nice. I could shorten it a little bit. And this is what I'm working with, right? So now I got 100% algorithmic. Okay, so let's go with something like... Tide sounds good. Let's try something different. Oh! Just kind of turned it like super lush. I like this. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. EQ works for me. Get rid of the lows. Steepen this up a little bit. There we go. Boost the mids of the reverb a little bit. Cool. All right. Anyway, so yeah, so that is the Instant House and the Instant Afro. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember, hit the like button, leave some comments, all that good stuff. I'll be back next week, same time, same place. And like I said, next week I'm going to get into the mono sequencer and perhaps the ARP, and perhaps I want to get into Thulu. Okay, it's kind of like this week, the next week. The idea is MIDI effects and just kind of generating ideas from MIDI effects. So that's what I want to get into next week. If you want something, you know, throw it down in the comments. All right, make some suggestions. Makes my life easier. Then I don't have to think of anything. I could just, oh, this guy wanted this. Okay, let's do it. All right, so I'm grateful for any suggestions. Like I said, it makes my life easier. Also, the whole week, there's other awesome content. You know, it's saved on the channel as well. You could go back and check it out. You know the drill, man. I'm telling people how to use YouTube. Everyone on here knows how to use YouTube. All right, anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and check you out next time. All right, take care.